Hello guys, I'm in a park and there is actually wind, so I hope that my video will not be too much disrupted by it, but just in case if there is some noise, so I apologize for that. Anyway, today I wanted to share with you, I don't want to call it a trick, I would rather call it something like a mild, gentle mental intervention that can help us get unstuck. And this particular insight, I think that it can be helpful for those who struggle with this kind of like all or nothing patterns, where the night seems to be like either it's like really smooth night if we manage to fall asleep quickly, or it is, if we don't manage to fall asleep quickly, then it is a terrible night. So primarily for anyone who is struggling with an onset insomnia, and I was that kind of type. But also thinking about that, like I think it can be also helpful for people with the maintenance insomnia, where they wake up and then they cannot fall asleep, and then they are believe that once I wake up, then I cannot, like, initiating sleep afterwards becomes somewhat impossible. So they kind of feel very uneasy about that. So maybe this will also shed some light and help in that kind of situations. So what I notice is that sometimes we get this kind of like moments when we go to bed, and then for some time, maybe it's like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour, I don't know, doesn't matter what's our internal like perception of time, but we might feel like some sort of hesitation whether we slept or not. It feels like we didn't, but then it's somehow like we cannot really remember what was the last few minutes or like half an hour or an hour was about. And then we kind of like start thinking about like, was it sleep or not? And I found that sometimes in that gap, when we are hesitating, changing the narrative or changing our interpretation of that vague state to sleep, meaning that just like explaining or writing off it as, okay, I'm hesitating, then it's a sleep. So there was some sleep. I don't know how much, but there was some sleep. That could be quite relieving and helps us just to move forward, instead of trying to really like figure out whether it was like sleep or whether it was deep sleep or not deep sleep. For me, that really kind of like made a difference in a way that it kind of shut up my brain, because then I once I kind of like write that feeling off to, or attributed that feeling of hesitation to sleep, and then sometimes my brain, that all what my brain wanted to kind of like hear, and then it would just like back off of me, and then the night would be actually go easier. It might not be like super like sleepful night, but it was just easier, because I know, yeah, like there's some sleep happening, so I'm good. So whatever happens now, it's like it's all good. And this particular change in interpretation is not really about trying to persuade our brain or lie to ourselves or try to pretend like something that wasn't there is there. Not really about that, because I do believe that when we are hesitating whether we slept or not, it is very, very likely that we actually slept. So that hesitation is a really potent sign that there might be some sleep happening. We just didn't notice it, maybe due to hyperarousal or whatever factors. So considering it as a sleep or counting it as a sleep, that could be actually helpful in a way to just like move on from that and not ponder on that, and just feel it like, yeah, we are safe, like it's okay, there was some sleep happening and I can just continue moving forward. Just maybe some like word of warning, like don't try to use it as a trick. Don't try to make it like, oh, so now I will just start reminding myself, oh, that was sleep and so on, and then so that I can sleep. It is more about like recognizing that window is an opportunity where the mind can take both kind of interpretations. So it's not like we are like when we are 100% sure that we were awake and then we are trying to persuade that we were asleep, because in that moment we were just lying to ourselves and the brain will not buy it at all. But when there is this kind of hesitation and it seems like the brain could actually take also that interpretation as well and count it as like, yeah, okay, all is good, there was some sleep, sometimes that can kind of like help us to really get unstuck there and don't feel so much pressure. So to just like summarize this particular insight, it's all about changing the way how we interpret our experiences. And if there is a possibility to interpret something differently and it feels not pressured and organic, then why not to go for it? If thinking that this weird not sure whether it was sleep or not state, considering that state as a sleep feels natural and feels actually relieving, I think it can be wonderful to just like, use that interpretation and just like move on. So yeah, I just want to kind of like say that like we don't have to force it, but we can actually change that interpretation to our favor and then just continue. And I know that this might not be the type of night that we want or type of sleep that we want, but sometimes like when we struggle with insomnia, we feel like I'm incapable of sleeping at all, and just knowing that like I had some sleep and it was not the conventional type of sleep, it was more like a hyper sleep. It was something that is like not ideal, but I take it. That could be very relieving and supporting for ourselves, so that we don't count it as like I didn't sleep at all, but we just take it like, okay, some sleep was happening, so let's see what happens next. So we are kind of becoming less attached because we know that there was probably something. Because if it would be completely wakeful night, then probably you would remember everything from that. But if there is like hesitation, fogginess, like not sure, maybe there was some sleep happening. So attributing that as a sleep, that could be the thing that can get us unstuck. So I hope that it was helpful, and I also wanted to share, and probably some of you noticed that I changed the name of this channel, and this is something that I was thinking for a long time to do. That I explained it in more detail in my last Sleep Talks letter, but just shortly, I just felt like I wanted to narrow down like the focus, or explain better with the name of my project what specifically I'm talking about, because I'm not talking about sleep in a broad sense, because it's such a broad topic and there are so many ways to look at it, but I'm talking about specifically about the fear that surrounds sleeplessness and being awake at night. So so this is why this channel was renamed, just like other social media. So I think this is it for today, and I hope this brought some clarity, some insight, and I will see you soon. Bye.